So, hello, everybody. It is me, Demetra Kaye, and I am sitting here with Donovan, the recovering Democrat Sadiq, also known as the Black Yul Brenner, still bald, still very bald. You ever gonna grow some hair? No, it's a wrap.
Oh, okay. Look, you see that I can grow hair because you see the little shadow, whatever the deal is. The point is, at my age, I've never, just like Eddie Murphy used to say, I've never heard of no woman in coming to America giving no man no loving because his hair looked good. Okay.
Whoa, okay. So anyway, this is the Demetra Kaye Show podcast. We are not live here. We'll be back live later. Donovan, are we going to be here later? Or you got something to do? All right, so we'll be back here later live. The purpose of the Demetra Kaye Show is to promote Black love, knowledge, and understanding of all things that go on in the Black community to make us an even better people, with the emphasis on even, because we are a great people, but we can always try to do better. And we are going to be talking about two things and probably some other stuff, because y'all know how me and Donovan get once we get going. We're going to talk about Governor Ron DeSantis. Of course, you guys know he's running for president. On the GOP side, he is challenging, I guess, Trump, that and eventually try to challenge Biden. But he implemented a bill that's probably going to cost him a lot of votes. Then, of course, we're going to talk about something that Keri Hilson, the songwriter, singer, she tweeted. I think it's very interesting. So Donovan doesn't know what it is. I always like to surprise him and get his first natural reaction along with you guys. So anyway, Donovan, how are you?
I am doing great. Hey, you guys, if you're watching this, please, it takes 1 second, well, a couple seconds. Hit the like button, like, share, subscribe on your platforms. It helps the algorithm and thing, and let people know that, Demetra Kaye is out there and doing what she needs to do. Absolutely free, doesn't cost you a dime. So if you want to support the channel and you can't technically help us financially, as you see the scrolling thing down there in the banner, you can help us just by hitting that like button. That's all we ask. It's absolutely free. Nothing wrong with that. But I think for you fellas out there, there's starting to be some damn common sense in some of these laws. And, and by the way, it wasn't necessarily Ron DeSantis's bill. This was a bill that came up through the assembly in Florida, and he signed it. That this guy's going to sign whatever, what's the word? Culture thing and issues, the culture issues.
The what culture wars. He's into
the culture war thing, just to keep everybody stirred up and doing all that.
Yeah.
That's a trick that a lot of politicians use. To antagonize. And it's about time. But, I would say this before we get into it. We really need to update these laws in regards to family law, because these laws are antiquated from the 1950s. Nobody's saying women should not get support and, children shouldn't be supported and stuff. But unfortunately, with women now more than the workforce, we got to update these laws to where it's fair and it makes sense.
Yes, indeed. And I just want to point out something, Donovan. You didn't notice anything new about me.
You got your braces off. I didn't notice. Yes. How's it feel? How does it feel?
For those of y'all suckers that was talking about my teeth, I got all 32 of them in my mouth, and they're all straight.
Right. Wait. But what was wrong with your teeth?
I had one that
you had that one crowded tooth, but outside of that, when you got all your teeth, some people it's going to be crowded.
Yeah, I got all of my teeth, all of them, but they're all straight.
When did you get those off? Yesterday?
Thursday. I just forgot to talk about, but Thursday.
Okay, good. Yeah. Now your lip won't be all cut up inside your lip.
You stupid.
Because you're always doing it about that.
And I got my Invisalign it's a retainer. So I said, he froze up a little bit. It's invisible, so y'all can't see it. It's not the old school retainer that it used to be. So I'll wait for Donovan to come back. Hopefully he does.
I am here.
Okay, there you go. You have froze up. That's why. All right.
Yeah.
Okay. So maybe it could be my end or whatever. But
it's StreamYard. It's StreamYard.
Okay.
Because I have a connection. So.
Okay. Cool. So anyway, let's go ahead and get it popping. As Donovan was so ebullient about Governor Ron DeSantis, and I'll tell you exactly what it is. Okay, it is SB, so a Senate bill 1416, it kills permanent alimony in the state of Florida. Okay, so it was 4 bills, and it says 4 bills in a decade of emotional clashes later. Governor Ron DeSantis signed a new Florida law that will overhaul the state's alimony laws, including ending what is known as permanent alimony. DeSantis signed the new measure, SB 1416, into law on Friday. So actually, that was like a week ago at this point. Until on Friday, a year after he vetoed a similar bill that would also eliminate permanent alimony while also setting up a formula for alimony amounts based on the length of marriage. Okay, so it says SB 1416 is the fourth bill of its kind that is aimed to kill permanent alimony in the past decade. Along with 2022 version, DeSantis vetoed last year. Former Governor Rick Scott vetoed 2 other bills. Okay, here's where we get to it. Florida's new alimony law went into effect Saturday and not only does away with permanent alimony, but it also sets a 5-year limit on what is known as rehabilitative alimony, allows alimony payers to seek modifications under certain conditions, and more. Here's what you need to know, okay? So it says the first section of SB 14 introduces new language to Florida statutes, then gives the number, that outlines alimony as temporary and striking references to its former permanent nature. It will allow judges to reduce or terminate alimony support or maintenance payments after considering several factors, such as the age and the health of the person who makes the payments, the customary retirement age of person's occupation, the economic impact a reduction in alimony would have on the recipient's payments, and the motivation for retirement and likelihood of returning to work for the person making the payments. So again, it is now capped at 5 years, okay? 5 years. So of course, there's a lot of people who are getting it, because it's not just men that get alimony. I know it's probably mostly men.
Yeah, did you hear Stevie J just got awarded $1 million from Faith Evans? See, so it's not just men get alimony too. People, you know what I mean. So it's working in reverse for a lot of women. So women should be rejoicing, actually.
Right, but so a lot of people kind of upset about that because, I know in California it's that way, it's permanent or whatever until you get, and usually it's till the person gets remarried, which is why a large incentive why you see people kind of booed up, right? I gotta glow the dean like, shoot, this is my boo thing. Y'all ever gonna get married? Hell no, I ain't messing up my bag.
Ain't gonna give up the money, free money. They any way they can get it.
Right. Well, some people say it ain't free because I was married to this joker for 20 years, and now I'm getting something for my trouble.
Okay, wait a minute though. I agree with you on that. You were married to that person for 20 years. But why should that person pay for the rest of his life? Shouldn't he pay for the 20 years? That would be fair. You pay alimony for the time you were married.
So yeah, I mean, I listen, I've never received alimony.
Well, Demetra, 10 months of marriage, no, absolutely not.
You know what I'm saying? That's a long story. We're gonna get into it, I'm quite sure. I know people who get alimony, and they're just like, I don't need to get married. Shoot, I'm getting some money from my ex. And I like how, and listen, I'm not a fan of Governor Ron DeSantis at all. I don't want to put that out there. I think he's a horrible, I think he's worse than Trump, honestly. If he gets into office, it's going to be worse than Trump, okay? Because he even wants to undo some things that Trump did, like the First Step Act, right? That allows people who have nonviolent crimes to get out of prison after they've been sentenced 100 years or whatever, right? So he wants to undo that. He said, if you did it, you did it. You need to stay in there and do your time. That's Ron DeSantis. But anyway, I'm not mad at this bill. I think 5 years is good, and I know some people say, but he cheated on me, or she, that sucks. Life happens. However, I think 5 years is good, because 5 years, you could go back to school. You could get a degree. Let's say if you're stay at home, But if you're a stay-at-home mama, why, you know, you need to be stacking, you know, whatever.
Wait, and speaking about stacking real quick, did you see that video on YouTube where the girl had taken $22,000 out of the dude's account? And she said, I gotta be good. I gotta be good. And it caused a big rift. But see, ladies and gentlemen that are watching this, that's back in the day, that was called Mad Day money. And women would do that. There was no problem. Now, in the modern day, I'm not saying that the wife in that video was wrong for taking the money. What I think what she should have done was let him know. The only reason he found out was because the bill or the bank statement came into the mail. That's where she screwed up.
Or you ain't supposed to do it all at once. You're supposed to skim. Oh, baby, okay, yes, yeah, I went to the store and I maximized what I took, you know, saved, and the other one went into, you know, my little savings. That's old wives' wisdom, right? So this is not modern day stuff. Traditional women did that. Like, shit, I know, you know, Mr. Melvin out there, he getting around with 15 other women. I'm gonna make sure I'm good.
Right. You know, and back in the day, again, to where we have the laws now, the 1950s, 1960s, that's why, you know, the laws were changed to make it equitable for these women to get fair alimony and stuff, because they, of course, they went through it. But back in the day when there was none of that, women had to do that, put money aside and kind of say, okay. Hey,
but permanent though. So this one, you know, it's 5 years and the gig is up type of thing. And then I also like that it says you have to also consider the age of the person making the alimony payments, because the man or the woman could be like 70 years old. I can't retire because, you know, I got to get this old bird her alimony check, you know, so he's, you know, essentially working until he's dead. And so it also thinks about what the other person may go through as well. And then it says to, well, per what you do, might you need to retire? You might have a very physical job or something, you're busting your back, and you still got to take care of yourself, and you got to bust out these payments for somebody else that you're not married to. And now keep it in mind, a person that's paying the alimony might be married again and still have to pay for the ex-wife or the ex-husband. So that's a lot, right? So some people, the person that's paying may never get married because, like, I can't afford to do, unless you're super rich, right? Like you're Trump, you collect a lot of wives. Unless you're super rich, you can't do that. So I think they should take that into account. Okay, this person is remarried. It's been a few years. How do we expect for him to take care of his new family, in addition to taking care of this woman who could probably be married, but she's not going to? Or also take into account, well, what is it that you do? Are you making enough money to replace the money? Like, so there's a lot. I'm not mad at this bill, Donovan.
Yes, you've got women right now, and I brought up the Stevie J thing. It was just awarded, I think, yesterday or today or wherever it was. She has to pay $1 million in alimony. Now, here's the funny thing. The women that follow Stevie J and Faith Evans, they're up in arms. Oh, he a deadbeat. Oh, he a dusty. He's this, he's that. Wait a minute, ladies. Wait a minute. Aren't you guys the one that keeps talking about equality? Equality? Isn't this equality? Everybody's being treated the same. So if she makes more money than Stevie J, which to me didn't really make sense, because if you look at the Bad Boy catalog, Stevie J produced or wrote for a lot of those Bad Boy artists. So I would think.
But who was she married to?
Well, yeah, you know, the Big and stuff like that. No, I get that. So she's probably getting all that money, whatever. But what I'm saying is, if you look at Stevie J and her, I would assume that Stevie J made more money in the publishing and the production and stuff like that. She is just a singer and a writer. You know what I mean? So
you know how much she's worth?
Oh yeah, I know, because of Biggie. So ladies, again,
no,
how much is she worth? How much is she worth?
Almost $30 million.
Yeah, that's what I figured, about $30 million.
But it's not just because of Big.
No, but that's a part of it. Yeah, that's a part of it.
Small part.
Yeah, small part.
But she's accomplished well.
No, I'm not taking that from her. What I'm saying is, she's making all this money, and everybody calling this man a dusty, whatever. What I'm saying is, I would have assumed Stevie J would have been the more valuable commodity comparatively. You know, I'm not an industry person, but I would have assumed that, because he's a producer. He's
worth about $5 million, but doesn't he have like a bunch of kids and maybe has
Again, So we see wives, girlfriends, kids, men go right into poverty immediately. But here's the funny thing. These women are calling him a dusty. He shouldn't do that, blah, blah, blah. But yet we still talk about equality. How can you say it's unfair for Faith? And I think it's unfair. I don't think she should have to pay $1 million. But why should she have to pay $1 million to a man who has means and stuff like that, and they don't have any kids between them and all this other stuff? But yet, women think that that's fair. But then when a man is paying, a couple hundred, Scottie Pippen and Larsa Pippen in that situation, he's already paying her alimony. They had a divorce settlement, and now she's getting his NBA pension. The hypocrisy and the double standards of how we look at things is ridiculous. So in the aspect of Ron DeSantis signing this bill, again, the laws are antiquated. We have to update these things. It's just like if in California now, in a lot of states, they have systems now where you can't be on welfare forever. Now, what is it, 5 years? You got 5 years, no matter how many kids you have. There's a set cutoff thing. And this is equality, ladies. This is what you fought for. This is what you feminists, and I'm not calling everybody feminists, but the ones that are, this is what you feminists fought for. So it's hypocritical for you to say it's okay that the man pays, but it's not okay when the woman pays if she makes more money. More than 50% of the workforce today are women. In the 1950s, that was not the case. Most women stayed home and raised the kids and did all that other stuff. This is equality, ladies. Love it or leave it. This is what you brought upon yourselves. And again, like Demetra, I agree with this. This is long overdue, because as a man, I look at the law and I'm saying, because coming out of the military was the same thing. I could be retired from the military, and I was with Demetra for 10 years. She gets half of my military retirement. Even if I remarry, she still gets half of that military retirement. And it doesn't incentivize her to get married, because if she gets married, then it stops. So she's not even incentivized to get married. They don't even consider her having a CEO of Demetra Communications. She's making millions of dollars. She still gets half of my pension. And I've remarried and done all these other things. So there's the fairness that we're talking about. Again, I'm not saying women shot themselves in the foot, but we can't be hypocritical talking about we want equality, and then when equality is given to you, you guys are outraged.
So I'm just doing some reading, and it says the reports is that it's about $1 million, but it says apparently the R&B singer submitted a copy to the court, and it reportedly includes her covering Stevie J's spousal support and even his attorney fees. So I don't know if she just paid all the spousal support up front or what. Nobody really knows, but that's what it is. But it also says that they've known each other way back when they first got started in the industry, and they just married in 2018. But I just think those are the things that you should consider before you marry somebody. Obviously, I think if you got that kind of money, whatever you want, maybe a prenuptial or something. But
yeah, and if you think about it, I don't think they had a prenup either. So being, industry people,
I'm assuming, I would imagine Faith did, because she didn't.
I don't think they didn't. I don't think they did.
The good thing for her, though, is she amassed a lot of wealth before she got with him, so he can't touch that per se. You know what I mean? This is so with that, I'm glad that law is in fact, because I don't think it's fair for a person to have to pay, indefinitely. It's a big burden, but then on the other hand, there's a lot of women who are older are like, what am I going to do now? If they take my spousal support, then I'm going to be finished per se,
But what have they been doing since the time they divorced their husband when they were 27, 35 years old? Now let's hypothetically think they're 70. What have you been doing all that time? You didn't go get a degree. You didn't go get a thing. And, what I'm saying is
I was continue being cute.
Oh,
like
gotcha,
when you met me.
Gotcha.
Okay? I was being cute, and you needed to pay for that, because when you met me, I was cute. Now I'm not as cute, but I'm too cute to work. So I need you to, so I can go out to the brunch with my girls and quite a couple times a week.
What's the word that you coined Sunday? You need me to cooperate.
Cool. I did, and it was our brother David, right? The word that I coined was de-pookify yourself. That's the somebody said they go steal it and have at it, okay? But this is my admonishment for faith. Dear, and I love faith. I really do. Soon as I get
Classic album. I have it. Classic.
Yeah, man. I'll tell you, boy. That's when we had CDs and we would just keep them on repeat, right? Just keep them on repeat. But anyway, my admonishment for faith is, now I don't know a lot about Stevie J, but I know enough. They only got 50-11 cheering, and he just had a small one not too long ago with Mimi or somebody. I don't even follow.
Mimi, Jocelyn, all these ratchets, whatever he's doing.
Faith, what did you find attractive about that?
And they were friends. You know, hey, he wouldn't do this to me, whatever. We've been friends for such a long time. Why the hell would I sleep with a man that was friends with my husband, even though it's later on down the line? It just doesn't make sense to me.
And you seen him not stay with all the other women, and they on Love and Hip Hop, and you find that attractive? Because, you know, I get it. I don't think a person, if they're a bad person, I don't think they're doomed forever. Like they're just a terrible person and they're beyond redemption. I don't think that. But I also get the other part of it. Well, maybe I'm different. I'm Faith. I'm not like those other, ratchets, those bottom feeders, piranhas. I'm different.
Mouth readers.
Yeah, I'll bring something different to Mr. J. He ain't ever been with a one. So maybe she was thinking that we're gonna be together forever. But it sounds like shortly after they got married, it was rocky. Because I think they broke up and they got back together and they whatever. It's just a mess.
And what's the common denominator in all of these relationships?
Him,
Stevie J. Mm-hmm. You're absolutely right, Stevie J. Exactly.
But he's a pookie. Let's keep it real. He's a pookie with a little bit of money. He's pookie. And Faith, I don't know. To me, it seems like she could have had just about any man she wanted for the most part. She settled for Pookie. I don't know, and I'm not saying she was perfect because I don't know the dynamics of the relationship. But you got to pay this man alimony, and I'd be like, you can't get blood from a turnip.
Lock her up like you would a man. Lock her up for contempt of court. The court told you to pay. You didn't pay. You're in contempt.
Then lock me up then, okay? Yeah. So that's really that's all I really got to say about that. I don't hate that law. And again, I know somebody gonna say, well, what about if he did this? Or what about if she did that?
The law doesn't care about feelings. It's the law.
Yeah, it's the law, and I don't think you should be able to break a person's back forever. You know what I mean? 5 years, I think that's good. And it sounds like there's some stipulations upon that,
Yeah, they take into consideration all the different things, That's what men have been saying about child support for so long. Nobody's exonerating men from their responsibilities. But if you're going to hold the man responsible, why aren't you holding the woman just as responsible? If I'm paying a certain amount of money for the court record, why can't I get an audit of what, not that, I know women are against that, but the point is you're not stipulating her to have her half, you know what I mean? Or whatever it is, even though she didn't got to show it, but it should be in the court order. Okay, he's ordered to pay $1,500. You were ordered to pay $1,500. And if there's a dispute, whatever, the county, whoever's the main person could go in there and say, we want an audit of his payments that go through the courts. Fellas, pay your support through the courts. And then because the child is pretty much with her as a custodial parent, they're going to look at, okay, my rent, my lights, my gas, whatever. That's what we're saying. And a lot of men, we complain for the simple fact that you order me in a law-abiding court order, but you don't order her. And sometimes when I look at kids that are, especially the young girls, that be bashing their dad, and they say, oh, my dad ain't this, my dad ain't that, but the man's been paying child support for all the years. Well, where's your mom's support half of that? Well, where's her part to give you a better life?
Well, we also know too that with child support, it's a small amount compared to what the custodial, and I'm saying the custodial because I'm not necessarily saying man or woman, even though we know it's probably women that get child support more. But the custodial parent is having to foot most of the bill. What the non-custodial parent is paying is just kind of like a supplement. So when I say footing the bill, I mean they're paying all the mortgage or the rent, the lights, gas, the car, the everything that goes into that child. And so what I'm saying is the non-custodial parent is not paying half of that. They're not paying half of it.
But again, he's paying what the court dictates that he or she is supposed to pay.
So I get it.
And if I was a custodial parent, if you were giving me child support, some of your child support, I'm going to talk to you and say, hey, I can either take this money and put it away for our child for college or whatever later on, because I don't really need your money. I just, whatever, we can do that. Or I can say, hey, I'm going to take your money. This is going to help me with the lights, the gas, the shelter of my children. But a lot of men have problems with women because, let's say, women have other children. And the one dad that they picked or whatever isn't doing his part or whatever. And so we know, I'm not saying that's the case in all cases, but this is how men feel. You see you're paying, but you're not making Ray pay.
Well, I'm going to say this to the men who feel that way, especially if you put babies in her after you knew she had babies already by a multitude of dudes. You the sucker. You the sucker for putting your seed in a woman that's got a plethora, a menagerie of men that has dumped seeds into her before you, and then you gonna cry. She taking my money and doing something with the other kids. It's like, nah, sucker, don't cry about it now. Because you wasn't crying when you was laid up in the bed with her where the kids was in the other room, eating, and you was bringing over ice cream and candy and stuff. Hey, little kids. The premise trying to get up in their mama. And then when you got up in their mama and you put some up in their mama and y'all didn't work out, probably for the reason that she didn't work out with the other dudes. Well, I don't know what I want you buying, little Pookie and Ray Jr. Not with my money. It's like, nah, those are the decisions you're supposed to make before you get with that woman and impregnate her. So that's why I said, I know that sounds kind of cold. I just don't have a sympathy for a man like that.
No, I agree with you wholeheartedly. But see now, notice how you held the man accountable for his actions. Wait. What about her actions with 47 and counting birth control? I'm not telling people how they should live their lives or whatever. The point is, how do you keep having children with multiple men and there's no accountability?
How do you become part of a multiple of men that's now a stable of baby daddies?
No, I get it. But where's the accountability? There's accountability on both sides.
But I don't have to absolve her. You know why I'm not going to absolve her? Because I'm going to put myself in the man's shoes of a man. I'm going to say, okay, you got a church full of kids here. You clearly can't keep a man around for whatever reason. He ain't staying around. You got all these babies. Why in the Everly F would I dump a seed up in you? See, that's why I'm saying it's on the man. So yes, she could not have a baby, this, that, but it's, you didn't look past the booty. You jumped in the bed with her. You romanced and financed.
But you're putting 100% of the thing on the man. What I'm saying is she has a part in it.
Right, but I'm going off of your argument that is not fair that she takes the child support. She's got the other kids and she ain't making.
No, I'm not saying it's not fair. I'm saying he needs to pay for his transgression.
But I'm saying in regards to the other daddies that's not paying. So I said, if you were the man that came afterwards, no pun intended, and you you put some seeds up in her and she had the kids already by a bunch of baby daddies, you the sucker. Because she's already, what else did you want her to show you? She's already showed you, listen, I'm just the addition to the mattress here. Like I lay on it. They treat me like a trampoline. They leave a seed with me. You saw that as an example. She showed you that she wasn't too responsible with keeping dangalangs around the house too long. And yet you decided to go and be fruitful with her. I'm not saying she's not a terrible person. I'm saying you're probably more terrible because you saw it was like burgundy flags. Hey, don't lay with her. Hey, don't lay with her. Hey, run,
again,
run,
it takes
run.
two. It takes two.
Yes,
it takes two.
but again, okay.
We can't put 100% of the problem on one person.
You missed the point.
No, I didn't miss the point. I know what you're saying. And this goes back to Ron DeSantis's bill. This is why the child support system has been changed a little bit to where you can't be on it forever. This is all ties into it.
But who I just described to you is probably one of the most horrible women because she loose with her snatch. Okay, I don't even know if that's she probably not even said it, but she loose. I did not paint
snapper.
right. The catch and release. Okay. I didn't describe to you an honorable, noble woman who just, little Mother Hubbard, or the old woman that sat in the chair. I described to you a strumpet, for a lack of better word. That's why I say you didn't hear what I said. I didn't say this lady was honorable. I'm saying she obviously has an issue, and yet somehow you, as a logical thinking man, thought that she was a good option to create with. That's why I'm not absolving her. I'm saying what would make a man do that?
Wait a minute. See now you're going in bad territory, because the only species of animal on this planet that has sex for enjoyment is the human species. So just because a man lays down with a woman or a woman lays down with a man, they don't necessarily lay down to procreate, right? Or we're in agreement with that.
You're supposed to.
Well, you're supposed to, but we know as human beings, we do it for enjoyment and pleasure and all that. We don't necessarily lay down to say, hey, let's have a baby together. Right. But that's where what I'm saying is what we're supposed to do and what we're actually doing in a lot of cases are two different things. And what I'm saying, and what I'm saying is we always put 100% of the responsibility on the man and we put nothing on the woman.
I didn't listen. I'm saying the man is 100% responsible in that scenario because you knew she was a wretched wench. You knew that. You knew she was a no good, loose woman, and you allow every Tom and Dick and Harry up in her, and yet you decided to go and be with her and put a baby. So that's why I'm saying it's 100% on that man because you saw
in that scenario. In that scenario.
Yes, I'm not saying in general. I'm saying in that scenario.
But
you saw all the caution signs and you just leaped right over them.
Right. Again, women are not protecting themselves. They're not using birth control, whatever the situation. This is why I tell a lot of young women, I don't give a damn if you can do it on your own and you're independent, whatever. Child support is not your money. It's your children's money. And if more of you women would put these Pookies and Ray Rays on child support, they would be more responsible because when they see this one costs this much, this one costs this much, this would help us all, the community, to reduce unwanted pregnancies and things with these young people and just people in general. Put these dudes on child support. I was watching Kendra G a couple of days ago, and there was this young lady in Dallas, Wichita Falls, and she has 3 baby daddies. She's 23 years old, 3 baby daddies with 3 different men. Ain't getting child support from none of them. She talked about, I got it, I can do it, I don't need nothing from those guys. No, you need to, because you're not putting those men on child support, they're going to go out there and make the same damn mistakes or do the same reckless BS that they do to cause problems in the community. And this is my thing. Not absolving men from their responsibilities. What I am saying is, you young ladies and ladies in general, stop giving Pookie and Ray Ray a pass. The money is not your money. It is their child's money. If you're not going to do nothing with that money, put it away for their college, to buy them a car when they graduate high school or whatever they're going to do. It is not your money. It is your children's money. Get it. Make those men responsible for what they bring into this earth.
All right. Well, I ain't going to argue with you on that. Give you a pass today. All right. So let's get to the next subject. I saw this actually before we came on here. A lot of times I struggle with content because I try to make it to where it's fresh and new.
Well, in this bizarro world, it's the same stuff every day. It just gets worse and worse and worse and more fantastic.
Right. So I saw this, okay? And Donovan hasn't seen it. And I read it once, so I probably really forgot what she said. But this is from Keri Hilson, very beautiful, beautiful woman, very talented. She says, a man will brag about not being in the streets, quote unquote, but be on social media, habitually tossing out and returning subliminal bait with women he finds attractive, making new friends, quote unquote, lining his pockets with options, collecting void fillers, creating methods of having his ego stroked, giving everyone attention and conversation, and moving the finalist, quote unquote, offline into his phone, eventually meeting up. Just because we can't see you doesn't mean it's not happening. You just take the back roads. The destination is still the same. Let's just call a spade a spade. Donovan, do you have any idea what she's talking about?
I have no idea what she's talking about, but from reading that, from what I just read, it seems like to me she was in a relationship and it went left. That's what it seems like to me, and she's venting.
That's kind of what I got from it too. That maybe she caught her man, messing with the randoms online, and like she said, the conversation, and I'm paraphrasing, moves from the inbox to the phone. I'm sorry if I'm freezing up, y'all, but move from the inbox to the phone, and then it becomes, like she said, an option, and you just keep on. And she's basically, now, if she's talking about her man or maybe her ex, I don't know, he's needing his ego stroked. He needs.
Demetra, I don't mean to interrupt you, but this is important. This sounds oddly familiar to me.
Okay, do tell.
This doesn't sound oddly familiar to you?
I mean,
I had a friend that had this beautiful woman, smart, intelligent, sexy, had her stuff educated, everything you would want in a woman. And for some reason, he was in the back roads of the internet, met some other chick, got in his inbox or vice versa, and decided to leave the good woman for this woman that wasn't what he thought it should be. It's just, to me, this is eerily familiar.
But it's a lot of, and it's not even just women's story. It's a lot of men's story that, have somebody, they're with somebody and they'll find out that the, internet little kiki, haha, and then turned into something else, But the point that I really loved that she pointed out is where she said, where to go? Creating methods of having his, and let's put his or her, his or ego stroked, because that's really what it is. It's a lot of people who need validation. They need validation. I feel sorry for anybody who needs validation from people they don't know, to where it's like, because I've always said this, I think in order to get on the internet, I think you need to have a healthy sense of self, a healthy self-esteem, because the internet is where, people can say any and everything to you and you just eat it all up, right? Like we see a lot of Instagram models or people, they get high off of the likes. They get high off of the, ooh, you're fine. Ooh, you look marvelous. Ooh, you look sensational. Oh gosh, you look. And so then they come back again the next day and they post another picture and then just right back at it. So it's like, I saw a meme and it was somebody snorting likes, like Facebook likes. They were snorting it like they were snorting cocaine or something because it's addicting. But I found that to be very interesting. But I think that's true for a lot of people. They need the ego stroke. But if you don't know who you are, somebody else will come and tell you. Somebody else will tell you that, oh, well, the relationship that you're in is not good enough. Try me, right? It's almost like the slippery slope. I've never done drugs, but I understand it to some degree. There are some drugs that they call like a gateway drug or whatever. It may lead you to something harder or the slippery slope type of thing. And to me, it's a slippery slope when it comes to stuff like that. Oh, well, your man ain't treating you right. Oh, for real, your girl ain't treating you right. Well, you know what? Try me. I'll do everything she's not doing and then some, or the other side of that is they'll convince you that the person you're with is not a good person. And then you're like, you know what? At first, you might not believe it. No, she's a great person. Or he's a great guy. Then they're constantly in your ear. Well, she thinks she all that, or he thinks he all that. You know what? You're right. She do think she all that. And then pretty soon, that other person has gotten you kind of, on their side per se. But like she said, those type of people, they just collect them. They collect them. But to me, yeah, I think that's what it sounds like. She called her dude creeping, and she went to the internet to express her displeasure, which, I always say about anybody, if this is her situation, anybody who's been cheated on, I sympathize, because I understand how that feels. Um, I know I can always tell when somebody has been cheated on my friends list, because I see stuff like this, or they just he ain't this, or men ain't that, or women all, and I'm like, oh gosh, you too, but I get it. It's a very jolting thing to have happen to you, especially if it was somebody you truly cared about and you thought they cared about you. Yeah, that's a very traumatic experience.
Let me ask you this. Now, I have a degree in human and social behavioral science, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's a little bit about therapy and stuff like that. It's part of the psychology thing. It's a small part of it, whatever the deal is. And recently, Keke Palmer and her man, and I really think that they had already broken up. That's why she was at the Usher concert. Matter of fact, you went to the Usher concert a while back. Did Usher get in your lap and sing to you?
I'm telling you, I had a good. I was I was on the balcony, but a good view of everything.
You can touch it.
Close. And I was, hey, and I had on my, my kimono.
Your muumuu.
Yeah, but it was open. It was bad though. I was fully dressed because I'm a lady, so I put some clothes on. But I was waving, dancing. It says, "Hey, I see you." So I was like, oh. So yeah.
So I really think in that situation they probably had already had separated.
Are they broken up? Is that what it is now?
I don't think they are. I think they're just going through a rough patch in the relationship, and they're kind of getting their distance. And especially, and you're a mom, and there's a lot of women, especially in our community, they go through postpartum depression and they don't feel attractive and stuff like that. And men, you really got to understand that. And I wouldn't have known that myself if I hadn't got this degree as well to understand. Because men, we always think it's about us, and we don't take in consideration. This woman just passed something of the size equivalent of a basketball between her legs, between, whatever, 8-9 pounds, whatever that is. That's traumatic on a person's body. And then she doesn't feel, she gained all that weight, got to get rid of the weight. So, men, we have to be a little bit more conscious of that. But when a person goes on the internet, and let me ask you this, because you have a background a little bit in counseling and all that other good stuff. Do you think it is a good idea to vent your frustrations in a form that everybody can see and everybody could comment on? And I'm not saying it's not to get advice, but in Keke Palmer's situation, if you look at all the comments there, Keke Palmer has a man that is the father of her baby. And you saw the majority of the comments, they were telling her, yeah, girl, you don't need him, sis. You know what I mean? And if she listens to that, people that she doesn't even know, she's going to end up without a man and have a baby daddy rather than having a partner. Let's just say partner, because that's what the majority of people are doing today. Would you recommend people to be therapeutic by blasting their stuff on there? Because I have yet to meet any friends that put their stuff on Facebook and in a public forum and the relationship works out. It always goes totally left because people are putting things in their head.
So I know I don't think it's beneficial. I get it. I get the impulse. I want to get on here and I want to vent and I want to just, because I've always said this too, people often use Facebook or social media like a diary, right? So I'm going to get on there. It's a diary that's not private. It's a diary for everybody. I'm going to get on there. Everything that's on my mind and everything that I feel, I'm going to write. No, I don't think it's a good idea because for one, you may want to go back with that person or I might reconcile. But the other thing is it doesn't leave any room for redemption for the other person because take Keke and her and Darius' situation, for example. you know, they may not have broken up, or let's say if they did and she gets back with him, he's always gonna be, remember when he did, oh girl, you wrong, why getting back to him? Because you've invited people into your relationship. You've invited people to have a say-so in what goes on. And so yeah, it doesn't leave any redemption for the other person. You undress a person on the internet. Let me tell you what he did to me or she did to me. And I mean, I've seen grown people get on the internet and out the other person, we put up the pictures and just all this, that, and this is who you with. And it's like, take that shit on the, excuse me, take it on the chin and keep it pushing. We've all been cheated on and it hurts. And it doesn't, you, because raw emotions say, I'm gonna let everybody know just how horrible they are. But the other part of that is you lick your wounds, heal, and try to be a better person and try to utilize a little bit more discernment. But it's never a good idea to do that. The other thing, what I want to know in all fairness is, let's say, I don't know if Keri was talking about her man. Is she going to get the same backlash that Darius got? Because she said, to me, it looks like she's talking about a man, although there's no confirmation. But are people going to say, well, why did you, put your man on Front Street like that? And that's embarrassing. You could have just talked to him. You should have called him or texted him. Or is she going to get the, girl, yeah, you're right. These men, they ain't nothing. They always, is she going to get a fair treatment if indeed she was talking about her boyfriend or husband?
Well, let me ask you this, since we're on that, and I think this is something really a good topic to talk about, because, you're going to be on your side. I'm going to be on my side. You got a lot of women out here that are saying, hey, they're not married, but, Kiki could do what she wants and dress how she wants. He didn't put a ring on it or whatever. Now, my thing is, as an older man, I'm looking at that saying, wait a minute, that doesn't even make any sense. He has no say-so on how she dresses, but without a ring being put on it, he can put a baby in her and get a baby out of her? What is your thought on that? I mean, that's what I'm saying. It's like, have we lost our minds in regards to being in this bizarro world?
Yeah, I mean, I just, it's, we've gotten away from morals. We've gotten away from common sense is what's happened. We've gotten away from that. And what's logical is not logical anymore. It's Babylon.
I mean, would you agree with that analogy? It's okay that she can dress any way she wants to do and be single. He didn't put a ring on it, but without a ring, he can put a baby in her.
Yeah, and I actually said that on a comment yesterday, because somebody was saying, well, she's not married. That's just a baby daddy. And I actually said that. So it's all right to put a ring on it. I mean, a baby in her, but not put a ring on it, but it's okay to put a baby in her. And I just think that's, people really need to think about what they're saying. You sound ridiculous. That they didn't get married. But they did what should come after marriage first. You know what I mean? So he was good enough then. But now you want to deduce this man down to just a baby daddy, or he's, invalid some reason because he didn't put a ring on it. And something tells me, even if he did put a ring on it, he still was going to be, well, you ain't making as much money as her. You just a help, and you broke, and, all that other. Not. So there's just a lot of people out there, and I hate to say it, there's a lot of women with flawed, they got a flawed way of thinking about things, And I feel sad, because I feel sad when anybody breaks up unless they just needed to. But it's sad to me that there's so many women who should have known better that are spurring her on to single motherhood. It's like that ain't fun.
That definitely not a flex.
Yeah, it's I wasn't a single mom. I was a single woman raising a child because my daughter's father was there, even though we weren't together. But it's hard to wake up every day and then not have somebody help. Say, hey, honey, can you get the baby? I'm going to go get some coffee, or I'm just going to sit down and just, have 5 minutes for myself.
And God bless those women who, it's one thing to have one child, but then some of these women that are having twins, you're just expecting one, and then there's two.
Yeah, so to big up single mama or being a single mama, I've never understood that, because I just know for me, I wish that my daughter's father and we worked out, but you say we were young. We just were, that was both of our first real relationship, right?
No. I know the story in that he was willing to pay your mom to have a baby with you. But the point is, when you guys laid down, was the plan to bring the baby here? See what I'm saying? Remember we were talking the last segment where most people, it's enjoyment. It's just pleasure. It's a thing, they don't necessarily lay down to procreate. We're the only species that does that. And again,
I'm gonna keep it a buck with you. He wanted a baby, right? But I'm like, I can't get pregnant. I ain't having no baby. We just having fun. We had a lot of fun, okay? We're having fun. I'm just saying, when you young, you having fun. You having fun, right? And then when it happened, I was like, excuse me, say what? Me? Little old me? Oh my God. Because I was, we were still in the metro. We were still at the club, we were just, hanging out. We was boyfriend.
The shock on your face, huh? When you heard.
Man. Because, like I said, we was boyfriend and girlfriend. We had our ups and downs even before I got pregnant or whatever the case is. The story of my daughter's father and I is really funny. I met him at this club in Riverside, where we're from, called the Metro. Donovan's been there a million times. I've been there a million times. And that's where I met. He was a Marine, and the Marines would come in from the base. They would travel from 29 Palms, which was like almost a 2-hour trek, right? So they get to the club, and we are at the club, and him and his homeboy, they would come and they have this little routine because my daughter's father's a hell of a dancer, right? You're doing these backflips and they got these routines and all this other stuff. So we bumped into each other on the dance floor, and that particular day he wasn't feeling well. So he was with his friends. So we were sitting at the booth. We, wasn't old enough to drink. Now that's how young we were.
And that was one of the clubs where it was 18 and older.
Yeah. So he's sitting there and I'm sitting there. And he lays his head on my shoulder because he wasn't sick, but he wasn't going to pass up a good time. So and this is actually the first time we met, laid his head on my shoulder. And I was like, okay, put my hand around him, kind of, you okay? Because I'm, just that way, you okay? And he'll tell he tells the story all the time. He told my daughter, he says, your mom, he says, she, because I was always kind of on the nerdy side, probably really wasn't his type. I was cute, don't get it twisted, Kaye. But he said, I remember that she cared for me. She made sure I was all right. She sat there with me the whole night. And, just made sure I was feeling good. I was okay. He says, and I could never, forget her for that, because he said a lot of other women would be like, shoot, next. And I'm missing, I'm wasting a good outfit up in here, So we hung out, but he was fine and he knew it. So, of course, he had these other women that he had collected when he went to the club. Unbeknownst to me, like I said, I'm pretty square about a lot of stuff. So I'm like, fine, whatever. Go be with them. So I met another guy. His name was Dave. And I'm friends with him, Facebook to this day. He's married and everything. He's a cool guy. And that's who I always said should have been the love of my life was Dave. I love me some Dave. I love me. Ooh, that's another story. So anyway, he was also in the Marines, and then he got stationed in Okinawa. So, right, he got stationed in Okinawa, and so he comes. So back then there was no calling, and we wasn't calling no Japan long distance on your mama phone. You wasn't fit to do it.
Well, see, this is where you went wrong because they have a thing called the DS inline, and you could have gone on base at the billeting or whatever and got on the DS inline and said, hook me to Okinawa, whatever unit it was, and they would have got him on the phone and it's free.
I've done that a time or two.
Okay.
I've done that a time or two, okay? But so we were writing letters and stuff, and it was going pretty good. Now, mind you, my daughter's father, he not like my mom like that, but he would come over and visit and stuff. One day I wasn't home and the mail came and he saw that Dave had wrote me. He got the letter. And so I'm like, damn, Dave ain't wrote me back. It's been a long time. I haven't heard from Dave. What's going on? So finally he writes me back and he says, Dre, because that's my daughter's father's name, Dre wrote me a letter because Dave had sent me a picture, ripped up the picture, burnt it up, sent it back to me. And I was like, what? Because we weren't together. I wasn't even at home. So Dave was like, are y'all together now? Of course you had to, hell no, we are not together. And it takes 2 weeks for the letter to get there. So needless to say, me and Dave didn't make it or whatever. So I ended up back with Dre.
Dre throwing a little salt in there, making sure his path is clear.
You didn't want me. You went off to be with her. I never forget. Her name was Royce. Big chunky thing. With a looked like Shaka Khan, had big old weave, right? Whatever. So he went off to be with Royce. I wasn't tripping. Do you know this man left her? I didn't tell you I was trying to be with you. He left her. He says, I want to be with you. I don't want nobody else. Okay, fine. We got together. And then we, ended up having my daughter. That was rocky. Oh. Needless to say, we broke up when she was about 1, a little after 1 or whatever. But, like I said, we cool now, but it was a lot of.
He got what he wanted. He got his daughter.
He got his Fruit Loop. That's what he called it. He got his Fruity Loop. But yeah, it was rocky. And so being a single mom, that's why I said I wasn't a single mom, I was a single woman because we weren't together. But he was there. One thing I could never do is push him away from his daughter. Like, oh, you came in, your daughter. He was like, shit, you watch me.
Yeah, you didn't weaponize Fruit Loop.
No, and I never would. But he never was the type of person that was like, I don't want anything to do with my daughter, nothing like that. He would have fought me. And there's sometimes that we went to court. He was trying to take me to court to get full custody because he got a new woman, whatever. And I guess she was like, I need her out of the picture. And that didn't work, whatever. But
and that's another thing real quick. For the women that you guys all stay together and stuff, that's why I'm really skeptical when you women talk about the sisterhood and stuff, because you guys can't stand each other. Like in the situation you just said, I want a woman, I don't want to do what I want. You know what I mean? You guys are just so against each other.
But mind you, I was with Dre first. Then he went with her. He did me dirty. So I was like, all right, fine. And then Dave came along. I was like, that's it. He's the one. And I'm telling you, like, and I think that was a problem with Dre because he hated Dave, hated him because I loved him. And I was mad. I was mad that why would you do that? What the hell is wrong? You off with another woman and you gonna mess up what I got? What the hell is wrong with you?
Because men are like other animal species. We have our little harem. We want a harem. We want our women. We don't want nobody else mess with them. Think about it. When you see guys like, let's say me and your sister broke up, even though I don't want her no more, I don't want nobody else to want her either.
But man, with me and Dave, we could have been good. We probably still be married, but I don't know. But so just kind of talking about Dave, because I'll talk about Dave a lot. But Dave, I really love Dave, and he knew I did, right? But I never made it an issue when me and Dre were together. But he would always bring him up. It was just like, yeah, that Dave, blah, 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 But so years after me and my daughter's father, we weren't together years and years. And so one day I thought about Dave. I was like, where is Dave now? Wasn't no Facebook or nothing like that. So I had some connections. I said, can you find this person for me? And they did. They said, don't tell nobody how you found him. So I did, and I wrote him or whatever. And he wrote back, and we kind of kept in touch or whatever. But he had later after that, he had gotten married. And Facebook came along, and I didn't get on Facebook till a lot later. A lot of people did. It was 2009, I think I got on, and got a notification that somebody requested my friendship. And when I tell you, when I saw that request, I did. I literally did that. I was like, oh
my God. Wait, let me get my lipstick on.
No, that wasn't like that. Because, again, he was married. He still is married, happily married, and all of that. But I was just like, oh my God, so we've been friends, never, never talked on the phone, none of that kind of stuff. Just, hey, how you doing type of thing. you know, and because I'm one of those people, I respect people's marriages. I don't even want to talk to your husband at all. I'm not going to, you know.
Yeah, that's how I am. I keep my distance.
Yeah. So I was excited. So it was needless to say, we're friends on Facebook. We do not talk on Facebook. Like if it's his birthday or something of mine, hey, happy birthday, whatever. But nothing major, nothing intrusive.
So you know, in conclusion with this, in regards to Keri Hilson and her situation, I remember her from back in the day. I don't really remember her songs or anything like that. Yeah, this is kind of maybe it could be therapeutic for her. I don't know.
It could be, but I get it. You know, you go through trauma. I just think you should be cautious. You know, as they say in the nation, think 5 times before you speak. Think 5 times before you tweet. Think 5 times before you post. Because trust me, I've been had people do and say things to me that I really just wanted to just let them have it. But see, the reason why I personally don't do that, because I know what I have up here and the gift to speak and to write. It could be not, I don't say deadly, like they could die, but it could really ruin them. And I choose not to use my gifts to be harmful, even though maybe I felt hurt. I just think, you know, I think certain things that happen to us, I know we're supposed to grow from them. We're not supposed to use them to harm, because it's almost like when they did it to me, I'm going to do it back to, I'm going to let every woman know. Okay, well, can I keep it real with y'all? I always like to give y'all story time. I'm going to give y'all story time. I think I told this story. Donovan probably heard it before, okay? Because I don't want to sit up here to y'all like, oh, I'm perfect and I have control of all of my emotions. Back in the day, I didn't, okay? Now, when I was married for 10 months. 10 months. When I found out this mother sucker had all these women, he was a truck driver, had all these women from here to there and every damn where. I found out about it because one day I could not get a hold of him. I'm like, what the hell he at? It's weird because he's on the road. And I'm like, is he hurt? Is something going on? Because mind you, I had moved from California to Illinois, right? So I'm out there, I don't know nobody. Except for the maintenance man. He wanted me something bad. But I digress. Okay. So he had this bag of receipts and stuff. And so I was like, well, let me look through it. Maybe I could find something to see, you know, if I could, I don't know. And little did I know this bag of receipts was like a bag of just hold 'em. Now, back then, truck drivers were Western Union, you know, money. So he had Western Union, this broad and this one over here. And that, and it was just like a floodgate of, it was just terrible, right? It just, I was overwhelmed because I'm like, what is this? Who am I with? So I got mad. He still wasn't answering the phone. Could not find him. So somehow I got into his social media's accounts and stuff. Just put 2 and 2 together from the stuff I found in the bag. Lo and behold, I was into his Facebook. I changed his Facebook picture to Pinocchio because he's a liar. Changed his picture to Pinocchio. I'm mad. I changed his password so he couldn't get in and change it back. Changed the picture to Pinocchio. And I wrote a long post. Y'all don't judge me. I'm just being honest with you. I'm a changed woman, okay? Wrote this post about how I'm making a confession, and I just want to tell, because I found in his inbox he was getting it in, okay? So I did it from as a confessional. I want to confess to y'all, I'm trying to change over a new leaf. I'm no good. I've been talking to a lot of women in my inbox, although at the point of time we weren't married. I'm engaged and I want to do right by her. And I also want to let you guys know, and I should have told you guys sooner, that I have herpes.
You know what? The sad thing is, a lot of the women were probably like, that ain't no big deal. I've been had that.
I gave it to him. I said, and I got herpes, and I know I should have told y'all sooner, but I'm telling y'all now.
You know, trying to preempt any criminal charges coming down the pipe, you know?
Right. So I'm watching the notification, his post. They going in. You got daughters. How dare you? You're just so mind you, he's still missing in action. So he tricking off somewhere. You know when people tricking, they ain't checking their phone like that. So when he gets done tricking the next morning, mind you, he's seeing his Facebook. So he's pissed. He's like, what's going on? I know you did it. I said, how would I do it? I didn't. I know you changed my picture to Pinocchio. You got these people thinking I got herpes. I said, I didn't do it. You changed my password, change it back.
And what's crazy about people, like one thing about me, and I can only speak for myself, is I never underestimate anybody. As smart as I think I am, you could be no degree and have, you got some people that are like myself that are smart as hell, book smart, have no common sense. We're not street smart, whatever, you got all those things. I never underestimate a person. So, it's not surprising to me that he underestimated you,
And I was so mad because I'm like, it ain't 1, it's like 10. You know what I mean? I was mad.
And you were laying with this man.
Man, now mind you, we were engaged. And so I was like, F this dude, I'm out of here. So 2 weeks later, I left. And then, so of course, he's like, I'm sorry, I'm a change. Oh, change. Bought me a ring. And I was like,
and okay. You took him back. And
so we moved to Humble, Texas, because that's where his job was taking him. And that was even worse. That was because we got married. And I didn't want to get married, but he was like, let's get married. Let's get married. He would call home. Did you set the date? Did you call City Hall? Did you call? Yeah, I called him, but I really didn't. So finally I did. And I wasn't even really planning on doing it, but I was like, okay, maybe he's going to change. Maybe it's not a bad idea. So we got married and it was even worse. I saw pictures of his cousin's coochie. He said it was his cousin, but come on, that's what he told me. Oh, it's my cousin. I don't know why she likes to send me pictures like that. I was like,
you know what? In his defense, though, I had a cousin that used to do that to me too, as well. She would send me.
You know what though? Pictures. He might have been telling the truth because I know because he's from the Midwest, right?
In the South and Midwest,
yeah. South, y'all like y'all like your cousins a little bit more than y'all supposed to. So that would, but I was like, I don't buy it. I don't believe it. So yeah.
So in the midst of that relationship, after 10 months, you had enough, and you filed for divorce, or did he file for divorce?
Yeah, I filed. He did not want to get divorced.
Mm-hmm.
He did not. I was like, it's going down, okay? I'm gonna send this to you because.
And what was your cause of divorce?
It's no fault. I got it in California. So
right. But my point is, don't you think that you should have a legitimate reason to get divorced? Now, in your situation, adultery, absolutely, jump out.
And I don't want to kill this fool, okay?
Right.
I don't want to kill him. And he was like, I don't want to be divorced. We could work it out. He would call me, and he would just, oh my gosh, I'm like, it's going down, okay? We're no, okay. So yeah, we got divorced. And then he came through. It was probably like a year or so after the divorce. As a truck driver, he came in my city. He's like, I want to just go out to lunch with you, see how you doing. So I did.
Put that old magic on you.
And mind you, I had,
sprinkle.
I hate that. I hate it all. So I was looking real good, because I was going to the mountain and I had my thing together. So he saw me and he was with his cousin. And his cousin said, oh man, you messed up. Man, you messed. He goes, I know.
Real quick, Demetra, real quick. How many exes do you have and their friends always go back and tell the dude, man, you messed up?
All of them.
Yeah, you've had a few.
All of them. And he said, I know she won't take me back. And I was like, no, I'm just here for lunch. I'm just here for lunch. Of course, over lunch, would you just come on, just give me one more chance? I said, you know what the crazy part is? I said, if I gave you 100 chance, I said, I know what I'm going back to. And then who do I blame? I said, I blame myself. It'd be different if you did it once and then you like your change. I'm sorry. But I said, you didn't do it once. And you know, I said, we can, you know, and after that, we didn't talk anymore.
See, you know, what you guys don't really know about Demetra is she is such a forgiving person. And sometimes I really sit there and I try to tell her, you got to play the game as your opponent plays it if you want to win. These guys be doing all kinds of mean stuff to her. I'm not saying necessarily fight, but it's like sometimes you just, hey, I don't want to hear it. I don't want to see you ever again, whatever. But, you know, you gotta call her up and be like, oh, yeah, let's go have lunch. And she'll go. You know, it's like, hey, you know, like water under the bridge. You know, and maybe that's because of the way you were raised, and you know,
because I know that I'm a nice person. I'm a very nice, and I know some people like, yeah, right. I know I really am a very nice person. Anything you need, if I can do it, I'll help you. That's just who I am. I don't like to harbor resentment, because, and rightfully so, I be within my rights in a lot of situations. I just don't like to, because it's too consuming. Like I like to, for me, I like to operate in the most clear head that I can possible in everything that I do. But if I'm not in a clear space, then everything else I do is compromised. Not even just a clear space here, but a clear space here, right? So for me, it's easier to let it go, so I can go on and be in as much peace as possible. Because to me, I don't care how much money I make or whatever make, what I have. If I cannot go to bed in peace and wake up that way, it's all in vain. And live my day in peace. That's all I really want at nowadays, is just in peace.
And then why is it that women like yourself are single, and then the ones that give you the hell and want to put you on, they don't want to put you in the ground, they want to put you under the ground. I mean, literally under. There were these relationships where these guys go back and forth with these women that give them so much pushback, versus a woman that's more like, hey, your food is ready, this is done, you know, whatever. We always go with the women that are totally opposite of what we really want.
And that's what a lot of women say. We hear what y'all saying, but we also see what y'all choose. You know, we see y'all choose the woman that's kind of, you know, she's a little rough around the edges, and for whatever reason y'all like that, you know. And I admittedly, I'm 52, so I'm probably last of a dying breed of women who watched their moms and their grandmothers, you know, take care of their husbands, and their husbands, you know, took care of them too. So I understand that, and that's why I always say, in jokingly a lot, y'all men won't let me be great. It's my pleasure to take care of a man, make sure he's got something good to eat, and he comes home to a clean house, and you know, I feel robbed. I actually do. I feel cheated, because that's who I am by nature. I'm a nature. I take care of people. I take care of my siblings. I take care of my child. I don't care. Just I love taking care of people, you know, and being in a relationship, to me, that amplifies it even more so, because it brings me joy to see a man's like, damn, I got a good woman. She made me some food, and she, you know, I like that, but y'all won't let me be great.
I think a lot of that is too. A lot of men, they didn't see that growing up. They see mama working, they see daddy working if the parents are together, and they don't see that thing. And so it's kind of foreign to them when, you know, it's like, what, you know, why is it that when you do something nice and maybe that's your personality, the other person who maybe wasn't raised the way you were in the same neighborhood or the same culture, they're suspicious. Everything's, what's his motive? Oh, he must be cheating, girl, because, you know, he took me out to a dinner and we went to this nice movie. And I mean, girl, out of nowhere. And the guy probably just wanted to do it. But the suspicion, because they never saw it growing up, everything is advantational. It's this confrontation constantly.
My mom used to have this saying, and you probably heard this too, especially when it comes to people who have money and they're not used to having money. That money just burning a hole in your pocket, you know? And it's almost like people know how to function poor. Like, oh, okay, I ain't got the money. I know how to function that way. I got to, you know, try to make ends meet, put this and that together. But with money, it's like, oh my God, I don't know what to do. So I kind of think it's the same thing for people who get somebody good. It's like, nah, this is too hard to believe. But before, you know, you may have a chance to do something, or even though things are going good, I'm going to throw a monkey wrench in it, because that's what I'm used to, right? I just can't believe that there's somebody who was good and that's good to me and good for me. So subconsciously, I'm going to mess that up, because I'm not used to that. I'm used to the struggle relationship. I'm used to the person not calling me back or texting me back or cheating on me and You know, I'm used to that, but I can't function. And I always tell men when we first start to talk, I'm not one of those women that run the streets. You'll never find me in the streets or like, baby, where you at now? You know?
Well, damn. If you're not running the streets, then you definitely can't be a freaking. Never mind.
Nah, it says a lady while you're in the streets, okay? When you're going about the town and doing your thing, and then you're a freak in the sheets, right? But they got it backwards nowadays. They're a freak in the streets and everywhere else. But no, what I'm saying is, I'm not one of those women that just she here, she there, she here, she ain't never home, right? I'm a homebody. Now, because I'm single, I have gotten in the habit of liking to travel, and you know, I went on a cruise a couple of weeks ago, and I was like, I like that, you know, I love, you know, so I'm getting the traveling bug. Now, if I had a man, obviously I couldn't travel a lot because I have to be, you know, catering to him and make sure he's good, right? No man want a woman who's gone all the time.
You know, and I'm gonna give the game up real quick for the women, especially dealing with military or ex-military men and stuff like that. A lot of these guys, you get these guys that have already traveled, and you know they're from their little small hometown in Texas, Louisiana, wherever they're from. You know, they're country boys, whatever, maybe Chicago, and they don't want to travel because they've already been over there or whatever, and they're just like, oh, that's not for me. But you know, a lot of you ladies get in these relationships, and you know, you see your girls on YouTube. Oh, they're doing this, whatever. Number one, most of those women are faking the funk. Number one, they're faking the funk. It's not real. Like Demetra says all the time, that is not real. It's not real. How are you going on all these expensive trips, but yet you're still in Compton, California, where you live? That's your home, but you got all this stuff going on. So you know, when selecting a dude, in regard, especially military guys, you know, some guys get that bug, and then some guys get so, you know, traumatized from their experience of maybe if they were in Afghanistan, whatever, they don't want to go anywhere. And I wouldn't necessarily say a guy like that would want to travel on a regular basis. So, you know, don't be disappointed if that's how he or she, the military person.
I mean, I'm like, if whatever we're doing together, that's cool, right? But because I'm single, I'm gonna travel, you know, as much as I can. Get out and see some stuff. That's what life is about.
Yes, and I've been telling Demetra this about this. We could do all of these shows in other places. We don't have to stay here. Demetra, you should be in Germany or wherever you're going to go. And
that's a little too white for me.
Well, wherever you're going to go and do a show, and you know, keep it moving. You know, just travel. You know, so
right. So anyway, y'all, we love and appreciate y'all. We'll be back here at 5 o'clock, somewhere around there. It's 2 o'clock now.
About 5:15. 5:15. Let's do it about 5:15 because my internet server goes down.
Yeah. So let's make it 5:30 then. We'll be back at 5:30. Then we can make sure you're good. Also, we'll be back here 5:30 Central Time. You guys, please come back. I don't know what we'll talk about, but I'm sure it'll be interesting. I'll look for something. Donovan, if you see something.
Again, big ups to Ron DeSantis for signing that bill. And ladies, I know you guys are mad and you just think it's unfair and this ain't right. This is equality. You guys keep talking about equal rights, equal pay, equal work. This is what you guys are fighting for, and you're getting it. And a lot of you women are complaining.
Right. So anyway, don't get married in Florida. Go to California. I'm just playing. I'm kidding. So anyway, y'all, we love and appreciate y'all. We'll see you guys in just a few. Bye.